Hey guys, I'm Jax, and this is my spoiler review for Better Call Saul, Season 6, Episode 6. Now, the last couple of episodes of Better Call Saul have kind of felt like, build-up episodes. Like moments that, like little small moments that are kind of building up to this big epic conclusion, but none of them are more set up and hype and anticipation-y than this episode that was essentially the most penultimate episode you'll see of a season, because it's every single moment is just going, next week, it's going to explode. Next week, it's like everyone's setting up the timer and the bomb and, the little line cord thing in the TNT, and they've lit the spark, and it starts to kind of fizzle, but it's going to explode in the next episode. But I do think this episode had something the other episodes haven't had with their setup and their table setting kind of situation. This really felt like it had this kind of foreboding malice and horrible just foreboding kind of, oh no, this isn't gonna go well. And there are so many little subtle, clever, fun, filmy kind of ways that they kind of went, hey, they're really happy and they're gonna get Howard and they're gonna ruin his life. And isn't that fun and awesome? And look at them, they're all happy. But in reality, it's all over for them, because I truly do believe that they are going to screw over Howard, but in the process get caught, and then Kim is going to go to prison. She's going to go to prison, but then probably escape via vacuum guy. Also, seeing the vacuum card in this episode, I have never screamed more. It was like I was watching Spider-Man, and I was up in the cinema screaming and hooting and hollering and being like, there's a Spider-Man in the Spider-Man movie. You all saw that movie. It was like that, but there was a card saying vacuum on it. I literally screamed. I was like, ah! The card! From the other thing! Breaking Bad! Amazing. I have had a sneaking suspicion, due to the 1,100 billion clues throughout this season, that they aren't going to end up together. Mostly that everyone kept mentioning in my first video was like, there are no women's clothes in his big house with the big golden toilet. I was too swept up in the golden toilet and just thinking about arriving in someone's house and being like, where's the toilet? And they're like, it's that big golden thing. I'm like, I'm not going to take a poo on that toilet. It's gold. Is that real gold? I can't. What even is this? But while I was too swept up in gold toilets and whether I would or would not take a shit in someone's house with a golden toilet, everyone was like, Kim's clothes aren't there, Kim's gone, it's all over. And since then, little things have kept happening. Good friend of mine, Kieran, he was like, hey, did you notice that every single time Kim is on screen in this season, there's lines, bars, obstructive things that kind of are visual representations of prison bars. And she's just, framed that way continuously. He said from a thing from Reddit. I don't really use Reddit, so I didn't go on to find out who that is, but whoever found that on Reddit, you've nailed it. Kim is 100%, 1,000% going to be arrested and probably sent to jail, sorry. I do think this episode, with that opening and seeing the vacuum card, that big moment of, remember, it's the vacuum card guy. It's the thingy. She is going to get arrested, get out on bail, and then bail via the vacuum cleaner guy. I think that would be really, really interesting, but she's definitely going to get arrested. There is, might think, oh, well, if she's framed with some bars, sometimes, like every now and then, maybe it's just a little hint, like a little red herring to be like, well, maybe she's going to jail, maybe she'll die, maybe she'll go to jail. But no, he sent me like 7 photos, and there's only been like 6 episodes. Like, this season, they aren't just like sometimes filming and going, oh, cool, there's some bars here on the set that just happened to be. Oh, let's frame it like this. No. This show is so specific, that they are definitely finding locations where they can have bars and, grates and things with, things that are visual representations of prison bars, where you look at it and go, oh, hey, yeah, now you mention it. So, let's keep in mind the fact that Kim is 100% getting arrested. Just think about everything that happened in this episode. We start the episode with a Kim flashback in which she steals and does a crime, and her mum is like, no, in front of the authority figure. And then when they get in the car, she's like, hey, we did it. We got you stole the thing. Don't worry, Kim. Don't look all sad, Kimmy, little baby Kimmy. You got away with it. The problem with crime isn't doing the crime and the moral conundrum and all of that. No, little Kimmy. This moral lesson you're taking away is, it's bad if you get caught, but if you don't get caught, A-okay. Watching that almost killed me. I felt like I died inside. It was so horrible, so brutal, so terrifying to realize that's what's going on in Kim's mind this whole time. but also it kind of reaffirmed all these things that I've actually heard on another YouTube channel, One Take, does some amazing Breaking Bad stuff. And just before the season started, he released all these videos and he was just so in-depth and so good at analyzing and being all scientifically analyzing. He was like a doctor, but for a TV show, being like, well, actually, if you look at this, this, and this, it's actually this. But let me just quickly summarize, because you don't leave to go see his videos and come back, finish my video, then go check him out, because you're not going to come back after watching his. But essentially, he summarized this really interesting analysis of Kim, in which that she is never kind of, you know, choosing to do crimes and be slipping Kimmy and all that kind of stuff, and Giselle and all that kind of stuff, because, you know, it's going to, like, be bad. Like, doing the crime, doing the grift is, like, bad morally. It's not the moral thing. It's really just getting caught, not getting caught. And he analyzes and gets into the nitty-gritty of why, but he's right. It's 100% right. And then this episode essentially just went, one take, you nailed it, buddy, you nailed it. Because showing that flashback is like, Kim has always been obsessed with, like, doing the right thing or wrong thing, whether or not she's gonna get caught. And in this episode, showing that moment just affirmed to me she's getting caught. She's getting caught. Howard knows, and however they think they're gonna get away with it, they're getting caught. And then to end the episode, bookend this episode with that moment, and then with her hearing Jimmy, the plan's gone awry, the man's got the cast, it's all askew, whatever they're gonna do, it can't work, because the guy they're pretending to be, the guy with the photos and all the things, it's gonna explode and it's not gonna work. And she just goes, what other day? We can't fight another day. There's no other day. It's today. Spins the car around, does the spinny thing, shoots around, is at a convenient point in the highway where she can do a dramatic turn on a big wide shot, and then zooms down the road. And that moment of her zooming down the road, I felt sick. I don't even know if I felt pity for Kim. I was just like, no, Kim. No, Kim. It's like you haven't realized they're framing you with bars behind you and in front of you for all season. You're clearly going to prison. Oh, Kim. You're walking into this, and now it's not even a tragic thing of, oh, she didn't realize all the errors of her ways, all the errors, all of this. And no. She knows what she's doing. She knows that that's just, I don't know. It really upset me, like, her decision in that moment. And I understand where she's coming from, but it just really, it broke me. I'm like, no, Kim, you're walking, it's like you're walking into a trap, Kim, no! And if all of this screaming and waving my hand about my face being like prison bars and things doesn't convince you, which I understand, you'd be like, I'm not convinced. Give me one more nail in the coffin to convince me that Kim is screwed and that it's all broken apart. Well, I can't give you a nail in the coffin, but you know what I can do? I can give you an axe in a piece of wood. In my head, that sounded a lot better. But there's a scene where they're all kissing and smooching, and it's Kim, Saul, and they're all like, Mum, oh, we've destroyed Howard. Oh, we're having such a fun time. And then, literally at the moment, I went, that's too happy. Already, that moment and shot is too happy. This isn't a sitcom. This is Better Call Saul. Like, it's just too happy. You know when you watch something and it's too happy, and then, like, the next scene, someone walks, you know, outside and they get shot, and it's like they die. Oh, you know, they fall down and they get hit by a car. Just a tragic moment after a beautiful, everything's up. Oh, no. This show just was so blatant in its brilliant visual kind of imagery and symbolism or whatever, metaphor, whatever the hell the word is. You know what I'm saying? Allegory? No, it's definitely symbolism or metaphor. It doesn't matter. But they're kissing and smooching and they're all combined and together, and then we get a shot of an axe smashing down a piece of wood, ripping the two souls, Kimmy and Jimmy, apart in this brutal, like, thing of force and action and I don't know. It really stuck with me of just this, like, moment of, like, force and brutality and just separation, and it was brilliant. I really, really loved it. At this point, my big theory for Kim is she's going to get arrested. They're going to do the whole Howard thing. She's going to get arrested in court, and then she's going to escape on bail using the vacuum cleaner guy, and that's Jimmy, like, Saul Goodman's connection to the vacuum cleaner guy. And then there's season 4 episode where there's a flash forward to Breaking Bad time when Jimmy or Saul Goodman's running about being like, oh, no, I've got to get out of Dodge. He has that that phone call kind of situation and being like, we got to get this phone call at this exact time. That's the Kim. She does one call once a year or whatever, and that's off with the vacuum cleaner guy, and she's hidden somewhere away in some snowy little villa. Probably not snowy, because that's what Breaking Bad did, but, you know, something like that. And she does the call every single year to Jimmy. And then when we get to Gene in the last couple episodes of the show, he's going to call Kim and be like, I need you, Kim. We're going to do one last slippin' Jimmy, slippin' Kimmy, Giselle dance thingy. You know, we're going to do it. We're going to do a grift. We're going to do a grift. And they're going to grift together to get out of it together and live happily ever after, and then probably get shot to death, Bonnie and Clyde style, or something like that. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? We're so many episodes away still. But I think that Kim will use the vacuum cleaner guy after getting arrested, and there's lots of reasons to do with symbolism and visual things that they've done to kind of hint that Kim will be arrested. But I don't think she'll be properly arrested. I also think that Howard, being the one that kind of destroys Kim's life and Kim has to bail doing the vacuum cleaner disappeary act, makes a lot of sense, because Kim disappears, she's out of Breaking Bad. That makes sense why she was never there for Saul during that time, and why his golden toilet is there in the house, because Kim would be like, I don't like this golden toilet. It seems a bit excessive and weird. I think Howard destroying Kim's life leads Saul to put a hit out on Howard in his darkest hour, and that kind of properly turns him into the Saul Goodman that we know. That's always like, oh, you've got trouble, what? Belize. Send this guy to Belize. Send this guy to Belize. Ooh, what about Belize? And he's like, what's Belize? Like what you did with the other guy. Bang, bang, shoot in the head. And Waterboy's like, how dare you say that about Hank? And, you know, all that stuff. You've seen Breaking Bad, you know. But he's so trigger happy. Gun, shooty, let's assassinate this guy. The Saul we know isn't up to that. He needs to kill someone. Who better to kill than Howard? The guy that loved his brother, that he feels tore his life apart with his brother, even though Chuck, you know, just a piece of shit and hated Saul because he just sucked. I'm being very brief, and that's very hyperbolic there, but still, Chuck, just piece of shit of a man. Love to just step on Jimmy and just be like, oh, I despise Chuck. Oh, I just despised him. But I can see how, like, Jimmy hates Howard, and the idea of him killing Howard and that kind of transitioning him into kind of the villain. Like, he's the comic relief for a lot of time Breaking Bad, but the things he suggests and, like, is a part of, like, with the phone calls about the poison, the rice, and all these things, like, he's a slime bag and, like, you know, very violent. Even though he never, like, gets his fists dirty, he never gets his hands dirty with the blood, he still suggests things that kind of implicate his hands in blood. And I just don't think the character's there yet. And I think killing Howard, because Howard destroys Kim's life and she has to go off with vacuum cleaner guy and do a whole other disappear act, just sets up everything so well, and it all ties everything perfectly nice into one big kind of thing. So yeah, that's how I feel like it's all gonna go. Lalo comes and he's like, hey, I'm still in Germany, guys. Still doing my fun Lalo German adventure. First note on Lalo's fun German adventure is his fun German adventure very, 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 very different to my fun German adventure. Like, just thinking about what he's done in Germany compared to what I did in Germany, it's just night and day. Like, and on just the smaller scale of differences, I haven't seen him eat a single doner kebab, which is just crazy. Like, I hope he's eating them off screen, because not to mention the schnitzel, the big stein of beers, the nightclubs, all the things! But yeah, so Lalo, he's trouncing through the beautiful woods of Germany being like, and just smelling and tasting this fresh German air. Time to horrifically and brutally just smash a man's leg off. Just smash a man's leg off and just sometimes I'm like, I love Lalo. He's just sexy mustache, sexy charismatic man, just boo, all the fun things. And then he just does just such horrific acts of violence, and he's just so casual about it. He's like, let's just have a chat. Put this thing around your leg. I'm going to amputate your leg so you don't die, so I can torture you some more to get some information. And I'm just like, boy, he's an unpleasant man. I don't like him very much. I also kind of feel like, and this isn't really either a good thing or a bad thing, just kind of a thing I noticed. Does it feel like to anyone else that Lalo, like maybe the actor, he was like, due to COVID or whatever, because I'm pretty sure this happened during COVID. COVID's still going. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because so many things have kind of, you know, changed and adapted due to COVID and the COVID restrictions. It kind of feels like, was he not part of the Nacho storyline and the end of that arc? Is he not really attached to anything at the moment? Because he feels very separate, and it feels like everything he's being filmed with, he's not interacting with any other main characters. And I wonder, did his arc have a different kind of narrative, like, in, you know, structure and thingies as he does? Were they changed due to COVID? Was he not, like, was he stuck somewhere? Was he stuck somewhere doing Hawkeye, that show that he was in for a bit? I don't know. It just feels a bit like he feels very separate. And I understand that, you know, he's separate, and it could be fine. Maybe that was the choice all along. But just when I'm thinking about season 5, he's so integral to, like, everything that's going on. Him and Nacho are constantly bouncing off each other. And I just feel like I liked that more. Maybe I just don't like him traversing around just wandering around Germany. It's interesting and it's fine, and I like the actor, but I just kind of feel like we're in the last season. Like, I kind of just want a little bit more. Like, I kind of want him to be interacting with all our main cast. Like, I'm just thinking of all the scenes with him and Saul, him and Kim, him and bloody Nacho. Like, it just, all that stuff in season 5 felt like it was really building up. And now it kind of feels like we're just galloping around Germany having a big time. Well, he's not having a good time, but, you know, it's just, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's not really what I expected, but not necessarily in the great way. But, I don't know. I feel like complaining about Better Call Saul because it's such a good show just seems insane, where I feel like, once again, like I said this last week, if I look back on the show overall, I'm probably going to have a different opinion on it. Maybe it's just watching week to week and just kind of having so much anticipation and, like, excitement and just, I don't know, my expectations of a final season sometimes get too hyped. I'm like, there's no more time. You don't have time to just wander around the woods of Germany. Like, just, let's get to the big meaty stuff. But then, you know, Nacho got straight to the big meaty stuff really early, and I kind of feel like, oh, whoa. Slow down, Better Call Saul, slow down. Have Nacho run about a bit more. Have him in more oil and submerged in oil. And it's like, why is he submerged in oil? Is it all sticky or whatever? Metaphor. You know, can't get it off him good. Like the crime. But yeah, I'd love to know if people agree with me on that, or if people are like, no, we love Lalo's big German adventure. We want Lalo in Germany forever. So this episode, we get a glimpse into Howard's home, and it's grand, it's expensive. He's like a character living in the OC. It's a big, glorious, beautiful mansion. But he's all alone. He's sad. And then we see his wife, potentially for the first time. At least I'd like to think it's the first time, or I've forgotten the time she was also in another scene. But their interaction, like, it's really informative and interesting, all that stuff. But mostly the scene just made me so sad. It made me so sad. He's making a coffee, and I'm like, oh, he's living alone, bachelor life. Bloody bachelor Howard, loving it. And then you see he's made a little peace sign out of the coffee, which is so goofy and, like, just lame, but, like, so sweet and sincere, but so silly and misplaced. Like, she's clearly not going to give a shit. If you've been broken up or, you know, divorced, but still living in the same house or separated, or whatever the hell is going on, she clearly has no love for him. She's so just, like, dismissive of him. She's so just, like, ugh. And then the way she just pours that cut without even looking at the peace sign, it's, like, very on the nose, like the most on the nose thing you could imagine. But I think it really worked. It really spoke to, like, where Howard is, where this wife or ex-wife of his is, separated wife, and just that and the little bits of dialogue where he's like, you could go alone, I could go alone. Or, I mean, it's probably easier if we go together. And she's like, I'll go alone. He's like, yep. It's for the best. It's for the best. Clearly, Howard, you wanted to go with her. You've just got to be more assertive. But maybe he was too assertive. Maybe that's what's brought them up apart. Or maybe it's just Howard being Howard. But I don't know. I just think having this scene works so perfectly in just the narrative of showing us Howard's life and being like, does Howard really deserve to have his life even more destroyed by Slippin' Kimmy and Slippin' Jimmy? Or are they kind of pieces of shit? And I don't know, that scene did a lot for me to make me I had to kind of crawl my way back in to kind of like Jimmy and Kimmy in that episode. Like, it just, I don't know, that scene made me go, they are so rude to, like, ruin his whole life and do whatever the hell they're planning to do to destroy him to his core. And I understand that, like, Jimmy, like, has always hated Howard. He's always resented Howard. His bloody brother Chuck loved Howard. They were best buddies, and he always thought Howard was the bad guy. But it's like, no, Chuck was the bad guy. Like, we spent 3 seasons figuring out how much of a bad guy Chuck was for Jimmy, and how much he hated him and wanted him to be that little brother that he could just step on and be above. Like, yeah, you get the papers you hand out the mail in the mailroom, and I'm the lawyer. Howard was just kind of there. Like, I don't know, yeah. And I understand that Kim wants to, like, do all her Kimmy stuff where she's like, I do it for the pro bono and all that stuff and all that, you know, all that jazz. Whereas Howard's like, you know, he's the sophisticated, he's the lawyer, he's the top of the rich, you know, living in the big mansion and stuff. And I understand where they're coming from. But I also don't think I, like, understand. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like I understand where they're coming from, but I disagree. I don't think they should do this. And Kim just driving and being like, no, we got to destroy his life today. Just doing that car thing. I just found it, like, pretty damn unlikable. And I was like, oh man, like, I don't know. They've always, like, the thing is Better Call Saul has always had over Breaking Bad for me is that they are more likable than Walter White. Like, I'll watch Walter White do something evil and crazy, and I'm like, oh, Walter White, not a boy! But, at the end of the day, I'm still like, he's the worst man who has literally ever lived. And there's like a bit of disconnect there where I'm like, it's fascinating and interesting, and I love him as a character, but as a person, despicable, awful man. Saul has ridden that line really well of like, I still am always on his side. I'm always on his side. And this episode, I don't know what it was about it. Maybe it's just the fact we're getting to the end, seeing that little snippet of Howard's life, and just it all, I don't know, every time they talk about like, oh, what we're going to do to Howard, I think maybe not knowing what they're going to do to Howard makes me, maybe I'm expecting something way worse than what's going to happen. Like maybe next week in the mid-season finale, they're going to do it and it's going to be like, oh, this is what we had planned. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Actually not that bad. Sure, they're actually not the evil people I've kind of kept thinking they are through this season. Like we see that big whiteboard of posted notes of thingies, and they get to the final thing, and they're like, Doomsday. I mean, they've called it Doomsday, and them sitting there in front of the HHM building being like, oh, we're there, we're on the shores of Doomsday. I don't know, they're something so smug and arrogant and kind of malicious and just, I don't know. They've finally gotten to that point where they've just become a little bit unlikable in this really bizarre way. And I wonder if that's just me, if everyone's still like, nah, Saul Goodman, doing a Saul Goodman thing. Crime vet boy is back. I love how this season is just bringing back everyone. We've got the Kettlemans, we've got crime vet boy. And he's like, I'm getting out of the crime vet game. See that big wall of little pictures of dogs that I've saved the lives of, presumably? That's my life. I'm a dog guy. I love little puppies and dogs. That's my jam. All this crime stuff that I was doing for extra cash, I don't want a part of it no more. I'm done. Here's my little black book of criminal characters and, nefarious people that I know. Take it, Jimmy. Do what you will with it. And he opens it, and it's all in code. And he's like, haha, Zodiac Killer, jokes, slipping Jimmy's funny ha-has, and, all that stuff, how Saul talks and stuff. Also, this episode was directed by Gus, which is probably why Gus didn't appear, I guess, because he was too busy behind the camera being like, act! It actually was quite a good episode in terms of like direction, feeling, and mood, but I don't know, I feel like at this point, how much was Gus doing, and how much was it the characters being like, yeah, I've done this character for 10 years, but I get it. I don't know. Not to judge Gus, I thought it was a great episode, but I'm also like, I don't know, how much do you know the the director's actually doing at this point when they know so wholly their characters and their moods? Maybe he was the one that suggested, they give kiss, smooch, but then there's a block of wood that represents them, and it gets cut in half because we're going to violently destroy their relationship and split it apart. And they're all like, Gus, that's some good direction. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I would love to know what everyone thought of this episode of Better Call Saul.